Take 402 was the one. Welcome, wandering souls, and praise be to the dark spirits that we made it here this evening after countless technical difficulties across your radio tubes. Welcome to the premiere episode of the Black Rabbit Society, a Call of Cthulhu actual play presented by Table Quests. A word of warning before we go any further: this evening's entertainment is a horror story. It features adults who may use adult language or discuss adult themes. You've been warned. Normally, I'd next vamp about this evening's entertainment, but seeing as this is the beginning, I'm just going to let you know that it is June 9th, 1923. Prohibition is in full swing, and we move now to our players. In New York, not yet aware of what they've been doing, but we're going to introduce them first. So, first up for this fete soir is Joel playing Herbert Francis Devenold.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Next up is Ben playing Tommy Cole.
How's it going? You all right?
Drew playing Horace Charles Young.
Good afternoon.
Kyle playing Dr. Raymond Fox. And Kendra playing the mononemtic Olive.
Hello.
So, we're actually going to be starting with you today, Olive.
Okay.
You wake up with a start, adrenaline running through your veins. You're in a strange bed. You see white walls with wainscoting, an exposed industrial style roof above you. Your hands ache, and you look down and you can see that they've been bandaged, and you would like it feels like after a night where you've had to throw hands. For our audience, what does Olive look like?
So, Olive, you see a frizzed, short hair, curly, black haired lady. She's 23 years old. She's pretty buff for a 1920s gal. And she's looking rough.
You're able to look to your left and right. You're in a hospital wing, complete with multiple beds. Normally these would be separated by gender, given expectations of the era. But you do notice that directly to your left, just starting to come to, is Dr. Raymond Fox. You've both been changed. Now Olive is kind of getting more senses returning. You're in the wonderful hospital nightgown. There's a bench at the foot of your bed that seems to have your clothes and belongings on it. Dr. Raymond, you are covered in scrapes and scratches, but otherwise seem to be in fairly good health.
Yeah. Why are we in a hospital? I don't. Do you remember? Yeah. What was the last thing you remember? Because I remember. That's strange.
You remember, the last thing Olive remembers is lunch on June 6th. You had it with your father. Remember, it was opening night at the Black Rabbit, where your new job was that evening. And usual late start to the day. you had lunch with your father. What did you talk about?
With my father, he mostly did the talking while I sat there and, nodded about old stories of long past his glory days. And just, he loves to talk and not really my thing.
Fair enough. And Dr. Raymond Fox, complete with scratches and scrapes and some detritus still in your hair, what do you look like? Excellent. You notice that in the room with you, there are, including the two of you, Olive and Raymond, there are 7 other people. You recognize 3 of them.
Really, really quick. Dr. Raymond Fox, you're a little bit quiet. Maybe, you should check to make sure, we can hear you. Okay.
You see along the far wall, so it's a long, narrow room with metal beds painted white on either side. The exposed metal frames. You're still kind of coming to adjust into the room. You can smell that earthy, slow-moving Hudson. You can hear the faint sound of traffic. Someone has a record playing somewhere else. Hear the caws of seagulls. And you can see, Tommy, Horace, and Herbert are all along the far wall. The bed on that wall closest to the door is empty. And there are 2 other individuals who you don't recognize.
Have 2 things. Is my audio back in? And is the professor and Tommy and Horace, are they stirring? Are they awake?
They all appear to be still unconscious.
And Dr. Raymond, I can hear you.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
What do the 2 that we don't recognize look like from where they are in bed?
Are you getting out of bed to check, or are you staying in your bed?
I suppose I'll rise, yeah. Get up and check on the others and maybe see these other 2 figures.
Yeah, they're both gentlemen. One closest to the door you can see burns all across the backs of his hands, and then most of his face appears to be covered in bandages. And by most, I mean all of it, with a little opening to be able to breathe out through his mouth out of. He has this deep, like, even in his sleep, he's struggling to breathe. The other one, you also don't recognize him. Gentleman, 30-something, with a receding hairline. He also has burns all along his left arm. And then his right arm is like in a full sling. And you can actually see through the bandages in the sling, you can see the blood has still seeped through.
Kind of lean over to Dr. Raymond. I'll be like, boy, what do you think happened to them?
I don't know. I mean, looks like a fire, and I don't know, maybe his arm's broken, but...
Hey, do you recognize those 3? Kind of look familiar.
Oh, yes, I do. That's Professor Herbert. I know him a little.
I think I recognize that degenerate over there. I think it's Tommy.
Oh, Yeah, he's been in the bar you used to run before, right?
Yeah, not run. I mean, more of like, serve. But yeah, comes in and I exchange some nice tales for some nice coin.
The sound of voices talking. Tommy, you start to stir, and your mind is briefly thrown back to the war. Because you feel like you did waking up then. Everything hurts, everything aches. Your left hand is bandaged, and as you kind of shift, Tommy's done his fair share around the block, from my understanding. And he kind of recognized that you've got some burns in the back of your hand that have been treated. And they're bad, but far from the worst you've ever had to deal with. For the audience, what does Tommy look like as he's coming to?
Tommy is the sort of person that's going to rush up a bit too fast. He's going to sit up. He's kind of got like blondish hair. Not the biggest build, but definitely looks pretty tough. And is a little bit harrowed despite looking pretty young from a few years of doing some pretty unpleasant things. He's kind of sitting up, I guess, still wearing some sort of loose clothes and looking a little bit stressed by everything, I assume. Also sitting up fast and then immediately regretting it. Do I see?
Yeah, they're padding around the room quietly as you kind of bolt upright at them, starting to talk.
Oh, Tommy, easy.
Olive, where are we?
All right. I know where we are. That is the question I know the answer to. We are at a hospital.
I don't remember why we're here.
That is a question I do not know the answer to. Because I don't know either.
Is there a nurse or a docent or anybody else maybe employed in the room, or are we just kind of alone?
Not in the room. There are 10 beds. The door is there. There are some jugs of water in the room already. There's no one immediately on hand. No one in the room seems to be at risk of death or anything. So whether there needs to be anyone on hand is certainly a good question, especially as you seem to be sleeping. It is approaching late morning, though, possibly noon. So maybe someone will be by soon. It wouldn't be too hard to go check the hallway. There'd be someone certainly in the wing. There'd be staff.
Well, the three of us seem relatively sound. Do we want to see about waking the professor and Ray will grab the chart at the end of the bed and Horace.
Oh, Horace. Yeah, that name sounds familiar. Sure, let's wake him up.
All right. Ray will kind of stand over Horace and start talking to him, and just a regular voice is, Horace, it's time to get up. Wake up time, Horace.
Horace, you wake up feeling well rested, a little bit sore. Did Horace ever do anything athletic in his younger years? Potentially university?
Oh no, he was always of sickly disposition, sickly constitution rather. His asthma rather prevented that.
Asthma. You'd feel almost like, kind of like the faint stiffness, and the good morning after you had spent like a full evening, stayed up late in the library, hunched over, spending into a full evening, and then collapsing into bed, exhausted from good work and content with having made real progress that day. And you see Dr. Raymond Fox standing over you, looking a little wild-eyed.
Wake up.
Oh. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Oh, my apologies. Have I overslept?
Oh,
Where? What?
we're not quite sure. We all just woke up, and we're gonna be looking for somebody who knows what's going on. You don't happen to remember how we got here, do you?
What do I remember?
Horace, you were making plans with the professor. You instinctually kind of patted your coat, then you realize you're in a hospital gown. But you were getting an invitation to some sort of event, and you're planning on getting dinner. It was a celebration of some kind. Bits and pieces are coming back to you about that.
Oh, dear, no. Have I gotten drunk? That doesn't seem right. How strange. Do you remember anything?
What do I remember? The last thing.
You remember, Raymond, you have a car, correct?
Yeah.
You remember turning onto Bleecker Street, early evening of the 6th. Looking for parking, planning to grab dinner before going to the cabaret. What kind of dinner would Dr. Raymond Fox have been after?
Unfortunately to say, something frequented by socialites.
Well, Greenwich Village is a great spot. You'd be able to get Italian food. You'd be able to get something at a cafe. You'd be able to go slumming with the Bohemians and go touring with them. Plenty of options.
He probably would have stopped in at a cafe for a cup of coffee and a kind of a light meal.
Of course. That's the last thing you remember. It kind of yawns in a black hole of no memory after that.
I remember trying to find parking so I could have dinner, and then... Oh, I wonder what my car is.
Sure. It's fine.
Oh, well, given our disposition, it seems likely that we enjoyed ourselves quite a bit. Who's to say what we did with the car? That's a fair concern.
Well, I suppose I'll get a letter from the police at some point about it.
That's a very good point.
Shall we?
Two worries. Why are we not in a jail cell?
I think that's a good sign, for one. Though these scratches that are kind of, yes, all over most of my body are somewhat disconcerting.
Wait a second. That's a good point. And I kind of tap myself down. Do I have my knife on me?
Well, you are currently in a hospital gown. Your clothes look like that. You kind of glance around. Your clothes look like they're folded on a bench at the foot of the bed.
I'm gonna kind of shuffle over to them and look for my knife.
Yeah, you go through them. Your knife is not there. There is a note with a receipt signed one Detective McGowan, that your knife is currently in evidence and will be returned pending investigation. That includes details for his precinct, or to contact him if you would be interested in regaining it. You also find your wallet, a watch if you have one, your lighter, and then you also find a scrap of paper that has been stuffed into one of your pockets.
What is there anything on the paper?
Should have popped up for all of you.
Ooh.
It's a handout.
Okay, well, two things, guys. We definitely did something, because my knife's in evidence. And that's something we need to sort out. Also, does anyone know what this means? And I hold up the little scrap of paper with the symbol.
No.
Did I doodle this?
Does that look like your pen?
Do I recognize this symbol at all? Is there a...
You don't. You could roll a spot hidden to try to get some information out of it.
I would like to do so. I roll at 83, and
it's not ink. It appears to be. It could be charcoal. It could be coal. It could be like a really, really crummy pencil. But it's definitely not ink, and you don't carry charcoal.
I definitely didn't do this. You guys remember this from last night at all?
Does it ring any bells?
Not one.
Listen, let's see if we can wake the professor, and then maybe we can find out from somebody who knows what happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it would seem unlikely he would be engaged in whatever cavorting we found ourselves up to. Strange he would be here, in fact.
Yeah.
No, carry on.
Then yeah, Ray will walk over to the professor and say, Professor, sorry to disturb you, but would you wake up? And he'll put his hand on his shoulder.
You put your hand on his shoulder, and Professor Herbert, you are greeted by probably the worst wake up of anyone here, as his arm presses onto your right shoulder, and you are just hit by piercing agony.
Oh! I'm sorry.
Your entire right arm feels like it's been through the ringer. Like it feels like it's been slammed and thrown around something's fierce. It is covered in bruises and nothing's broken, but it feels like it was a near thing.
What on God's green earth? Raymond?
Yes, Professor.
Hello, lad.
Hello. Are you okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, but
I'm in extreme pain.
Well, that leads directly to what we're doing next, which is looking for someone to... Would you like some morphine? We're going to go find somebody and find out what happened.
Where are we, my boy?
Some sort of hospital. Beyond that, I don't know. Do you remember anything from last night?
What do I remember?
Professor Herbert, you remember being invited out to a celebration with young Horace? You think it might have been about a publication or something? The usual good to do with a fellow academic, a celebration of small victories. And you remember discussing going to a cabaret show. You had heard that one of the young women, the daughter of someone you knew from your street, was having her first poetry reading there as part of it. So it was a good confluence of appearances for you to go to. But you don't remember making it to the event.
The last thing I remember was grabbing my cane and my hat and preparing to find a ride to... What was the name of that place? A colleague of mine, Mr. Young, had invited me to a show. We're in a hospital?
Yes. Is there any? Do we have charts at the ends of our beds?
You do.
Does it say the name of the hospital we're in?
You are at the Metropolitan Hospital.
Yes, we're at the Metropolitan Hospital.
Are we? Clearly, I took quite an injury last night. Are you well, young Raymond?
Oh, bumps and bruises. Just some scratches. Beyond that, I seem to be whole.
That's good to hear. And I see we have... Oh, Mr. Young, is that you over there?
Indeed, Professor. Sort of
What on earth did you get me into, my boy?
That is a very reasonable question. I'm afraid I am as in the dark as you are, so it seems. I had initially thought drunkenness, but I know that not
certainly
to be
not on my part. Certainly not.
Now, checking the chart on my bed, does it have a reason for visit or condition? Anything indicating?
You checked your chart.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and you have the training that I'm not going to require a roll for much of it. Yeah, you were apparently brought in by Inspector McGowan. You were found delirious and non-responsive in Central Park on the early morning of June 7th. You were found with superficial bumps and bruises, and you were brought here and quickly after fell into unconsciousness. Medication was given for the pain. You were given fluids, and they tried to make sure you were still getting food in. And based upon the notes, the last time rounds were done would have been the morning of June 9th. So you've been here for over 48 hours.
So nothing mentioning inebriation.
No.
Okay. Oh dear.
What have you got there, Horace?
Well, as strange as this seems, I appear to have suffered some sort of psychotic break.
Oh, sorry to hear about that.
Is that so, then?
Yes, I would be curious to see what the others say. Would like to go around and read Professor Devanald's chart.
Yeah. Professor Devanald's chart has a number of similarities, where the differences are if they include treatment for very mild burns on his right hand, believed to be caused by handling a hot firearm after being fired multiple times. Then the bruises all along it, including they found bruised bones. And he was also quite delirious, and as they brought him in, he was incredibly insistent that he not be given any morphine, opiates, or anything that would make him sleep or go back there.
Well, Professor, you appear to have the most interesting evening of us.
Do tell.
As you may have guessed, you are injured.
Yes.
And it indicates that you were in some kind of fight or altercation involving a gun.
A gun? My gun? Where is my gun? Where are my things?
The majority of your things are at the foot of your bed. Your cane is there, your gun is not. You also find a receipt. Your gun, along with 1 round and 5 spent rounds has also been taken into evidence by Detective McGowan.
This is decidedly disturbing.
Yes, we seem to have suffered some form of mass hysteria.
Damn, Professor, I was expecting a quiet night just meeting you.
I'm sorry. Have we met before?
We haven't. I went to the Black Rabbit to chat to you about some diary entries I'd found.
Oh, yes, the manuscripts you were interested in. I recall. Was it Mr. Cole?
That's right, yeah. Just call me Tommy.
Of
I
course,
don't
Tommy.
actually recall getting to you. I remember speaking to Olive, but I don't remember anything after that.
I have no recollection of meeting you either, young Tommy, and you're welcome to call me Professor Devenold, and I'm sure that I would be able to put a name with a face had we met, but this chart indicates that I've been in this bed for more than 2 days and have no real recollection of how I arrived here. Has everyone in this room a gap in their memory?
More or less, yeah.
Yes, and not the kind that generally I would attribute to the kind of night I would expect to have at the Black Rabbit, frankly speaking.
Well, you never know with the Black Rabbit, to be fair.
I suppose. I don't know anything about the Black Rabbit other than Olive was going to be working there.
And young miss, what exactly does more or less mean in your case? Do you have some recollection?
I remember waking up here.
Yes. And before that?
So that's more or less.
More or less. I see. I see. My apologies. I am Professor Herbert Francis Devenold. What was your name, young lady?
Oh, me. You can just call me Olive.
If you wouldn't mind turning your face to the wall for a moment, I'd really rather get out of this gown and into my own clothing.
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem there. And I'm gonna actually go to the 2 other people's beds that we don't know, and I'm gonna go through their stuff while he's changing.
Of course.
I'd also, for the record, like to say I was pulling my clothes on during this whole conversation.
Sounds good.
Yes, I'll get dressed.
I'd like to be back in trousers, please.
Is there anywhere I could find a modicum of privacy?
Yeah, there are curtains that can be pulled between the beds.
Then I will pull the curtains and dress myself.
Shy, Professor?
I'm sorry, what was that, Tommy?
Said, are you shy, Professor?
Not exactly, but it's inappropriate for me to expose myself in the presence of a young lady.
I don't want to go that far, but okay. I'm saying as I'm going through these people's belongings.
She said it, not me.
Olive, taking a quick look at their charts as you go by, you find that they're labeled as Albert Doe and John Doe. Albert Doe is the one with the burns across the face. And what you find on their person, you find in Albert Doe's pocket one invitation to the grand opening, June 6th, at the Black Rabbit Cabaret, once-in-a-lifetime event at 105 Bleecker Street. You also find, amongst his things, you find another receipt, this one for a set of brass knuckles and a flask that have also been confiscated. and you find a receipt for study aids from the Red bookstore.
Okay, I'll just kind of grab the invitation and the receipt and keep it, and I'll kind of like give it to Dr. Raymond and be like,
What?
any of this mean anything to you?
Oh, the Red bookstore means something to me. Right? Do I know of it?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you roll. You are a little bit high class for it. So I'm going to need you to roll. I'm thinking it would be. What would be a good thing for kind of how you do your business and reporting?
It's gonna be either. I mean, I really just go places that the wealthy and beautiful go and take pictures of them and talk to them.
Neither of those go here. I will just give you a luck roll on that one.
Okay. No.
You've definitely walked by it. You know it's over on 5th on Book Row, but you have no idea anything about that store in particular.
I've seen it.
You also notice as you're getting dressed that your jacket is in tatters.
Oh, well, this somewhat corroborates the scratches, I suppose.
It is probably not salvageable. But you do manage to go through your own pockets and find that.
Oh, I have half a telegram in my pocket. Let's see. I can't tell who it's from. Not sure if work stop, huge discovery stop, something something something, behind attitudinal viewpoints stop, may have further findings. Interesting. I can discern where and when I got this telegram from this information on the center under the.
Yeah. So it was sent June 11th, 1923. So just under 2 years ago.
So this has just been hanging out in my pocket.
Well, but the paper's new. It's not aged paper. And it says it was it was received at the Brooklyn routing office, which means it's from somewhere in Brooklyn. And then the rest of those numbers and letters you'd be able to use to probably cross-reference and pull it up if it's still on record.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. This isn't something that I just carried around with me. I don't know where this came from.
Oh, that's much, much better. What's
Yes.
that? Raymond, you found something, did you?
Oh, well, yes, I have this tattered half telegram in my pocket that, well, I don't ever remember receiving. And did you say that that the date listed on it was 2 years prior? So it's 1925?
The current date is June 9th, 1925.
Okay.
The date on that is 1923.
Oh, I thought you had said that we were in 1923. I need to change my notes. Okay.
Wait, did we go to the Black Cravat in 1923 or 1925?
You went in 1925.
Okay, cool. That's a really big gap.
Yeah. Is it
2 years.
Did we lose 2 days or 2 years?
Oh man, I gotta call some people.
You gotta avoid some people. Well, are we all dressed? Olive, did you rifle through their pockets? Did you find anything?
Nothing good.
Oh.
Let me rifle through my pockets. Hold on.
We're not stealing anything from these gentlemen, are we? They're clearly seriously injured. Why would we take such advantage of them?
No, I would never steal something from the sick, obviously, or injured. I was just investigating to know what happened.
Honestly, Olive, I'm just absolutely appalled as I just walk over and just go, so what did you find?
And I'll hand him over the papers. Or I'll tell him to go to Dr. Raymond, who has the papers.
All of your hands are starting to hurt from all this rummaging, and like you realize how badly your knuckles must be underneath the bandages. You're just kind of struck by the pain. If you like when your hands hurt or whatever, and you keep rubbing it, you're like, those are probably worse than I thought. But going through your own belongings, you do find $175 in fresh bills.
I'm not gonna say anything about that, and I'm gonna stick it back in my pocket. Strange, I didn't see anything, guys. But I feel bad. Maybe not. Definitely hit something in these past 2 days. Like, really hard.
I can only imagine what whoever it was you were hitting looks like. Perhaps it's the bandaged fellow.
Could we have all been involved in some form of altercation with the criminal element?
Well, we probably need to speak to this Detective McGowan.
Yes, quite right. Has a doctor or a nurse been by while I was unconscious?
Not that we've seen.
I'm guessing is there a phone in the room?
Quickly, you said when I had woken up that I feel great.
You
right?
feel like your clothes.
Yeah, that's it.
Your clothes look rumpled and messed up, but you definitely got off a lot. For whatever happened, if you were with them, you got off a lot lighter.
Yeah, so I'll like pat down my arms, sides. Huh. Well, at least I know I wasn't on the receiving end of Olive's fists.
Does anyone remember any fire?
Oh, that guy looks like he's been burned by fire, if that's what you're asking.
I have burns on my hand as well, but I don't have any recollection of any fire.
Can I first aid check myself to see if I can piece together what happened to me?
Yeah.
Let's use a skill I'm good at.
Just as you're kind of giving yourself the once over.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Okay. That's because your skill is over 70. That is not a fumble. So
okay.
it didn't make it worse. You just you start to kind of think about poking and prodding at it.
I would like to, if this is the right moment, I would like to push at the risk of pulling out some stitches or something.
That's 100% what you can do. Yeah. Okay. So you do end up peeling off the bandage a bit, and you're just kind of trying to do it carefully. So the back of your left hand is burned, and then it goes up on your arm. So you would guess that this would have been, there was a big fire that you either ran through and you put the arm up to cover your head or something, or there was an explosion and again you put the arm up to cover your head.
Okay.
It would have been not super close to you because you're not too bad. Otherwise, yeah, the general aches and pains, hard to say. It has been well treated. It's looking like it's been well cared for. You're in a hospital after all.
Well, that's reassuring.
And
Oh no, carry on.
Was it as Olive is continuing to go through Albert and John Doe's stuff. Herbert, Horace, and Raymond are kind of putting the finishing touches on their outfits and going through their things. And Tommy is peeling off his bandage. A stout, 40 plus, maybe early 50s woman comes in. She's got iron gray hair. She's in a nurse's uniform. And she comes into the tray and she's got fresh water and it looks like she's got some food and such. She goes, "Oh, what, Mr. Cole, if you pick at that, I will not be pleased to have to put that back on again."
Look, I'm gonna cut to the chase here. What's going on? Where am I? What happened?
You're at the Metropolitan Hospital. You and your friends, you insisted you were all friends, were brought in here a few days ago, in various states. Detective McGowan and the Metropolitan Police brought you in. I don't know all of the specific details. Professor Devenold, good to see you awake. You weren't conscious when you were first brought in. We were quite worried for a bit.
Yes, thank you, young lady. I can see that you've taken very good care of me in my infirmment, but can you explain to me what exactly it is that has happened to my right arm? It almost feels as though the bone were broken, but not quite that.
Oh, I'm sure. I know the doctor has his own theories about it. Now that you're awake, I'm sure he'll be by. Near as we can tell, the police officer said you were waving a firearm around when they found you, and it had to be wrestled from you.
Nice.
Professor.
That seems quite unlikely.
This may have answered my question, but our relationship with Detective McGowan, it seemed friendly, or was he being a bit of a pig about it?
Have we been charged with anything, I think is what Mr. Cole is hinting at.
Not to my knowledge. Oh, sorry, I forgot myself a bit in the being awake. I do have, I suspect a partial answer for that. I have we had a phone call earlier today for Mr. Fox. Sorry, Dr. Fox, my apologies.
It's all right.
Apparently a Mr. Tiller has hired a lawyer on your behalf. And he called this morning. He said it's the weekend now, but they're waiting on a judge at the moment. He said he's trying to wake one or something. You are currently to be held. There is, given the strange happenstance of how you came here, you're under something of a quarantine.
Quarantine? Are we ill?
But not an arrest.
If you see, she's kind of like, she's a little bit flushed at this. She goes,
Just getting wording right. I'm real big on language.
It's not. I don't know if it's my place to say. We have to ask you not to leave at this time. My hands are tied. I have to prevent you from leaving. We can have food and drink whatever brought to the room, but you can't leave this wing of the hospital at the time.
It's not yours to say, child. I understand. Could you get the doctor for us then, please?
Of course. And she puts the tray down. It's got another fresh jug of water, some sandwiches, and she goes, Mr. Cole, if that's not back on properly when I come back, I will be quite cross. And she heads out.
I will actually I think the Catholic in me just immediately just takes the order of a nurse and just begins just winding the bandage back up. Does
anyone remember her name? It seems like we've spoke a few times already, and I
don't believe she introduced herself, did she?
Well, it sounds like we've been here a few days. It sounds like we've had a few conversations, but...
No, I don't recognize her face at all.
Listen, why don't I go and... she'd said a Mr. Tiller had hired a lawyer for me.
Yes,
that means that
now-
somebody knows something's going on. I'm going to
It
see
was...
if I can...
I think she said Dr. Fox hired a lawyer named Mr. Tiller.
No, Dr. Fox, comma, a man named Tiller called. He says he's hired a lawyer.
Ah.
And they are currently waiting for a judge because it's the weekend.
Do you know this man, Raymond?
I don't believe... Do I know
Oh.
a Mr. Tiller?
From my notes, Mr. Yarno Tiller is a social, you know.
Ah.
Horace is like pinching the bridge of his nose.
Or it'd be Horace is someone Horace knows, I should say.
Yes. Oh dear.
What, I may have met him
This
in
would be
passing.
difficult to explain.
My
yes,
most
I believe-
pressing question for you is how confident are you that any lawyer that he would happen to hire for me would be one that I would want to have?
He is wealthy,
Good enough.
very
for me.
much so.
Ah. Well, money does tend to buy the better quality things, doesn't it?
Typically,
Oh, speaking of money and buying things, is my camera among my possessions?
Yes.
Ah. Are there exposures taken? Like did I take pictures? Okay.
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to remember back to how cameras of the era worked. Yes. You would have to develop them to see anything. But you can tell you have taken photos.
Ah, I have pictures. I have pictures of, well, something I suspect last night, 2 nights ago. I'll call Mr. Tiller. Perhaps, Horace, you could call Mr. Tiller since you seem to know him. And we'll get an update on how getting us sprung from here, perhaps that he's found a judge that will let us go, and we can get these developed and learn something.
Wonderful. In the meantime, I'm going to pick up the tray of sandwiches and walk around and make sure everyone takes one.
Well, while they were discussing all that, can I have been looking around the room for windows and seeing what floor we're on?
There are plenty of windows. You are on the
Cool.
3rd floor. You also look out and realize more specifically where you are. You are currently on Welfare Island, which is an island between Brooklyn and Manhattan. And the Roosevelt Bridge goes over the island, and the only way to and from the island is by boat in this era. Up
So
until
she can see the bridge overhead.
it's not hard, yeah. Up until very recently, it was an island for quarantines and asylums that very recently Metropolitan Hospital took over, and now it's for quarantine and the hospital.
Do the windows open or are they like sealed shut?
They open.
Okay.
Again, you are on the 3rd floor.
I
So-
know. I know. I'll just
Um,
open a window and then close it, just keeping that in the back of my mind.
Yeah. As you are opening and closing, the doctor walks in. He's a 60-something fellow, cue ball of a head, big bushy mustache, and tiny little round glasses. And he goes, gentlemen, lady, it's good, you're up. Most of you. Still no word from the Doe twins over there, huh? He takes a quick little note. I understand you have questions, confusions. I'm Dr. Leopold Gilchrist. I suspect we have a great deal to go both ways, and given the state several of you were in when you came in, I don't know where you're all at. So I guess I open the floor to you to begin.
Well,
You said you didn't questions.
Doctor, my memory's a little hazy of our last few interactions. So let's go out on a limb and say that I don't really remember anything so far. Would you maybe go over some of the notes of what we said when we first arrived?
Anything at all so far? Oh, since the 6th. But you remember before then is okay.
Yes.
Interesting. On the morning of the 7th, you were brought in. You were all handcuffed, given the faces of several of the police officers and certain dirty looks that were thrown towards, in particular, Ms. Olive and Dr. Raymond Fox.
Olive, we punched a bunch of cops.
Listen, if it was the cop I'm thinking of, then he probably deserved it.
No argument.
You were all in quite a state. Professor Devenold, you've been
Yes.
you've been unconscious since before you arrived here.
I see.
We did make sure to push some fluids, and you seemed near a state of nervous exhaustion. Mr. Cole, you came in. You were adamant that you be in a well-defended circumstance. We believed it was shell shock. I don't think there's anything particularly to be worried about in such a case. We reassured you on an island. It's a solid building. Whatever we threatened you wouldn't be able to get you here. It would require floating an entire naval operation into the bay to do anything past the Brooklyn Naval Yard, no less.
Oh, if that's the case, I'm sorry if I was a little off when I came in.
None of you were in quite the best of sorts, but we got you taken care of quite well. Ms. Olive would normally be separated, but between the concerns about an alleged illness and your own insistence that you not be separated from the rest of them, we thought it was perfectly fine to break protocol.
Yeah, I remember that illness that I was talking about, but could you refresh my memory just in case, we're talking about the same illness?
Well, given the situation which you were all found in, making quite the scene in Central Park and dragging a man behind you.
I'm
Sorry, what?
sorry.
Sorry, who was that?
Who?
What?
One of these poor gentlemen.
Elaborate on that,
Yes.
would you?
When I say dragging, I do not mean literally dragging. But you had Mr. Albert Doe over there. He had no identification on him. But the poor gentleman's was severely burned. His eyes have been quite literally melted. You were.
Dear God.
And again, when I say dragging here, I mean more euphemistically of you were.
With
You
carrying?
seem to believe you were protecting him. He was still stumbling and walking around on his own recognizance. He seemed to be cooperating with you. John Doe was found nearby. Yeah.
You say it was quite public then? Oh dear. Is there a phone that I might have access to?
We do have a phone down in the main room for the wing. Just in keeping with protocol, I'd have to make sure that no other patients in there before letting you in, but of course.
Of course. I appear to owe Mr. Tiller my deepest apologies and an explanation.
Well, you were, Mr. Young, I should say, you were in the best shape of a lot of you all when you came in. You made a few phone calls shortly after arriving.
To whom?
Well, it wouldn't be my place to. We're not. You're not in prison here. We don't record your calls. We don't.
I did not say.
You asked for some privacy of the phone, and given the concerning circumstances you came in with, it didn't seem my place not to prevent you, and the police said nothing about preventing you from contacting people. So, it's not my place to become directly involved in the maneuverings of law enforcement and the legal profession.
Of course. Thank you for your discretion, Doctor. Deeply appreciated, if unfortunate, at this juncture.
All the same, would you, when we finish this conversation, perhaps clear the way for us? I think I definitely need to make a call, and I think Horace does as well, once again.
Of course. And now that you're awake and around, we'll see about ensuring you can at least have a walk about the island a bit. It's not the same as being able to leave, of course, but doesn't mean we can't ensure you can get outside.
But I do want to clarify. I'm under the impression we're being quarantined for fear of some illness.
That is what the paperwork has been filed for, yes.
Ah, wink, eh?
You haven't been formally
Not wink. What are we talking about? What's the issue?
Quite
Yeah,
right.
I feel
Quite
fine.
right.
Can I get a
Detective
read
McGowan.
on the doctor to
Yeah.
see, like, if he's holding back, if he knows more than he's sharing with us?
100%. That would be a psychology roll.
Hey, I'm capable of that.
Could we all do that one by one, but slowly for the chat?
Yeah.
Should we all roll?
The update is very
I mean-
slow.
Dr. Raymond Fox, start with him.
Yes.
Because he asked.
Psychology. That's a success. Regular.
He is bound by certain rules that he is trying very careful to make sure he doesn't wrong anyone. He's trying to talk carefully, not because he's trying to obfuscate against you. He's trying to cooperate, but he's also not, he's trying not to get in trouble. Because Detective McGowan has ordered a quarantine citing the delirium you all found yourselves in. That ensures you'll be kept here for at least a number of days under observation until either I'm able to determine that there is not an illness, a process which would take several days, or until a judge or some other legal personage releases you.
Detective McGowan is concerned for our well-being, and as such, requires that we stay in place.
And of the city, yes. I suspect that is an exuberance of safety would
Now-
maybe the best.
Dr. Gilchrist, you say you are capable of rendering a diagnosis of nothing for us. What exactly is it that you're looking for, or rather looking to not see?
Well, you were all unconscious until just recently, and
Case closed. We're up and about.
would that it were so simple. I mean, for example, there are a number of tropical sicknesses that involve long periods of sleep, delirium, which could in turn leave you still highly transmissible. We tried to make some sense of what you were talking about early on. I know law enforcement. Sorry, I should rephrase that. I highly presume law enforcement interviewed you all before coming here and is following up upon some of the things you all said.
But to be clear, how is it that you intend to confirm whether or not any of us have one of these illnesses?
Post you asking me the questions to assuage yourselves a bit, I'll be asking some of you, performing some of the diagnostics, and then merely a day or two of continued observation to make sure that there's no more spells of delirium, that there's no more instances of violent outbursts or anything of the sort.
A day or two. At most.
At most.
I'll need to inform the university to have someone else take care of my classes while I'm gone.
Well, it is Saturday. We can certainly have that done, and with any hope, we can have you out of here by Monday with pending some of these questions. Don't come up with anything too irregular.
Very well, then.
If that's it for me, may I ask some questions before going to the telephone, or would you prefer to make your calls first?
Does this doctor seem like an upstanding citizen?
He seems a bit persnickety and a bit like he's covering his butt, but he doesn't seem like he's lying to you. He just seems like he's trying to do his job, and he's just a doctor.
Yeah, he doesn't deal with the cops telling him to do stuff very often. He's kind of out of his element. If it's all right with you, I would like to make a couple of phone calls before we get into the question and answer, but you all can begin while I do that.
I mean, if we're getting comfy for the weekend, Doc, can we get some home comforts, like some cigarettes and some painkillers?
Aspirin only for me, please.
Could I have some medicinal vodka?
Yes, 2 of those.
Neat.
Unfortunately, we do not have any alcohol on the excuse me, beg your pardon. We don't have any alcohol on the premises. We can have cigarettes, and there are. We can ensure that you're all medicated to deal with your pain and other issues as needed.
Of course.
Pipe
I'm
tobacco,
really struggling.
preferably.
Yeah.
I'll send the nurse in to collect your orders, as it were. It'd be easier to go through the questions all at once, so I'll clear the way you can make your calls. If you don't mind just waiting a few moments. And he heads out of the room.
Olive, how's that window looking?
Yeah, I think maybe I could survive the jump, and I'll specifically look at Horace and Professor Herbert. I don't think all of us could make it out that window.
Why on earth would we jump out the window, child?
I believe, if I may correct you, that it would be very easy for us to get out of the window. Getting back up off the ground, however.
It's not the falling, it's the stopping.
Indeed.
Yeah, sure. Listen, do you think the doctor takes bribes? I've never bribed anyone before, but I've found myself coming into a little bit of extra funds recently, and maybe we could just spare our way out of here.
I believe, Olive, we are here for a reason. We exhibited some extreme delirium and hysteria. It would be best for our own safety and for the safety of those around us if we waited to ensure that the circumstances surrounding our episode did not occur again.
God above forbid that we get back into the center of New York City and spread some horrible virus into the population.
Of course, that would be absolutely horrible. Who would ever want to go against, humanity and all that fun stuff? So, Dr. Raymond, I'll kind of like sneak the money out of my pocket a little bit just so he can see.
Well, the doctor did seem to be a bit of a persnickety sort. My thinking is he is never going to diagnose us as free to go. And being instructed by the police to keep us here without charging us, letting us go would draw their attention. I suspect our way out of this is with a judge waking up mid-afternoon on a Saturday and going, "Why you're keeping people in," and then that's who we bribe.
How much do judges cost?
I'm sure that the law and the court system will handle things appropriately without having to lower ourselves to bribery or any other form of illegal activity.
Depends on the judge.
In my experience, we shouldn't rule anything out. Let's keep everything on the table.
Yeah, just looking at all of our options, Doc. Professor.
There's a quick rap at the door before the nurse comes back. She goes, the main room's ready for you to make your calls as you need be.
Excellent, thank you. Lead on.
The other is just down the hallway. So there's a number of other rooms in this wing, kind of the same idea as yours. She's kind of making a little bit of small talk as you go by. She goes, the poor gentleman in that room there, we're worried to have TB, so of course be careful not to be going in there. There's a bit of a worry about some sort of rash that's been spreading around in Brooklyn as well, and they're in observation over here, and they don't seem to be communicable though unless you are touching them. So be careful in whose hands you shake, as it were. And but here you go. It's right in here. And there's a phone just kind of like at the desk. She goes, I just need to make sure that you're not. I need to make sure that you have your privacy. No one's gonna be walking in, and also that when you're done with the room, I'll just be outside the door in the stairwell, just doing my puzzles.
Much obliged. Thank you. And Raven will pick up and connect to the switchboard, and ask to be connected to Arnie Strong, a friend of mine who runs a dark room.
It's a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. Where is he well off, or is he more?
He's not well off. He's kind of scraping by. I feed him. I don't do my own development. I pay him to do it. He's an old friend of mine, and I help him get by.
Okay. Hello?
Arnie, well, listen, we're gonna have to get together and I'll tell you the whole story of it, but I'm gonna be trying to mail you my camera. I'm at the Metropolitan Hospital right now, and they're not letting me go. You wouldn't be able to come here to pick up my camera, would you? I don't think I can wire you any money from here.
You're all right? You're in the hospital.
I feel all right. I'm a little scraped up. Listen, you weren't at the Black Rabbit on the 6th, were you? At their opening night?
The what?
No,
I ain't never heard of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Listen, keep an eye out. I'm going to be sending, if I can get a hold of a messenger, either through the post or with the courier, my camera. It's going to have some very important negatives that I want you to develop as fast as you can for me.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I got a bit of a scoop with some sort of new-falutin magician or some such coming into town, but I can fit you in.
A magician, eh?
I just newspaper bit and some wahoo out of Europe.
Oh, what paper?
It's for The Voice.
Oh, The Voice, eh? All right. Thank you. I'll see if I can get a copy. Thank you. Yes, keep an eye for that. And then drop what you're doing, develop my pictures.
All right. I mean, just make sure you keep up. I got rent to pay.
Oh, don't you worry.
All right, excellent. I hope you feel better there, Dr. Fox.
Thank you. Well, I'll talk to you later.
And you take care.
And I'll hang up. And I don't know Mr. Tiller, do I? I've run into him, but that's a contact that Horace knows, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll see if the switchboard can connect me to him anyway, without knowing a substation or anything.
Yeah. You kind of luck out because you're at a hospital, so it has its own. So the lady's able to connect you through. The phone rings and rings and rings. And it rings a few times. Horace, how would you tell us a little bit about Yarno Tiller?
Yes, so Yarno Tiller is a wealthy, if an extremely eccentric socialite in the New York scene. He is known for his exotic tastes in just about everything, including psychological philosophies. Hence why he would entertain a young psychoanalyst. What would you be looking for?
That's plenty. It rings, and all of a sudden, hello?
Yes. Is this Mr. Tiller?
It is.
Oh, Mr. Tiller. This is Raymond Fox. I've just woken up in the hospital, and I've got this note from you saying that you've hired a lawyer for me.
Dr. Fox, darling, I was hoping to hear from you.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm not sure exactly what has happened to us.
Yes. Very hush. I get it. We can't talk over the phone. Very exciting spy games. It's like something you'd expect from the OSI or something. Delightful. Great work out of Young. Very clever.
Yes. And I'm gonna play along. I don't know what he's, but yeah.
It's smashing of you. I mean, smashing. I do agree that those of us who play better backs, we just have to do our part. Simply smashing with you.
Yes, of course. And I was wondering if you could give me the name of the lawyer that you had hired for me. I'm hoping to get in touch with them.
Well, my understanding is I've sent him off to a judge already. He's tramping around some golf course out in Long Island.
Well, when you speak to him, could you have him contact me at the Metropolitan Hospital, please?
Of course. It's the firm's Claremont and White.
Claremont and White, and excellent.
Yeah.
Yarno, I can't say any more. Thank you for your assistance, and let's connect up when I extricate myself from this particular situation.
Of course, Doctor. You and the other doctor and the other doctor and the rest of you, we certainly have to do lunch at some point.
Yes, quite.
A great story. I didn't think young Horace had it in him to call me at 4 a.m. for this kind of thing.
Horace, full of surprises.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Ta, and
you take care. We simply must sometime. Ta-ta.
Yes. Click. And Raymond will kind of sit there for a second. Did I learn anything from that? Well, and tap on the door. But nurse, I'm finished with my calls. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Did any of your other colleagues wish to make any calls or anything?
Oh, I'm not sure. Who's in the hall? Oh. Did anybody come along?
Horace will be nervously pacing the hallway.
Yeah. However, even though we started a bit late, this is a wonderful time for an intermission. So we'll take 5 and be back shortly.
There shall be an interruption.
Fantastic.
In play.
To our evening's entertainment already in progress. Horace Young, I believe you're right about to jump on calling some of your friends and colleagues. Or enemies, I don't know who you're going to call. Far be it from me to tell you who to call.
Yes, so first things first, I would like to, not necessarily knowing who Dr. Fox had called, to call Mr. Yarno Tiller.
Yep. It rings only once. Yes, hello?
Hello, Mr. Tiller. Firstly, apologies if this latest incident has set our work back in any way or damaged my image or yours in the city.
Horace, no. I simply must commend you, actually. I was just saying to your colleague there how clever your quick thinking was. Very, very clever. Very good of you to have someone take the fall. simply wonderful.
Yes, take the fall, of course.
Well, yeah, your names will be in the papers.
Oh, good, good. What names will, if you don't mind me asking? I have been understandably very busy in this time.
Well, yes,
Some of the details escape me.
You're at the hospital for some reason. I didn't quite understand entirely. Apparently McGowan's done some sort of claiming you're under quarantine to hold you longer while he builds a case or some such. Ludicrous. I remain, darling, absolutely committed. I think this is a great insight you had. Wonderful look into some of the transient folklore of New York City. I'm really excited to see where you go with it next. And I understand entirely the need to push boundaries and to make sure that you and the professor aren't involved in the papers, especially during this early of a time.
Indeed, I'm glad to, as always, to have your support, Mr. Teller. Have you any news of our legal status?
As I just told your friend, you must be in separate wings or something. I just told your friend we have someone from the firm of Claremont and White is stalking Long Island right now to try to find a judge to hear on the quarantine order and determine its validity.
Very good, very good. The flexibility will make our work much easier. Certainly. Now, you're certain that Errant hasn't gotten a hold of this in any way?
No, I followed your instructions quite carefully. I do have to say, Mr. Young, I used your proper name to help show you how serious I'm with this. I'm very impressed. I did not think, I was worried I would hire just a bookish fellow. I didn't think you had it in you to be involved in such a thing. I am very curious to see what your write-up is on what was his name? It'll come to me at some point. You were babbling on that night. I'm very excited to hear what came of it.
As are we all, I think. Don't let me trouble you any further. I look forward to speaking again. Hopefully not kept in a hospital.
Of course, take advantage of it. Make sure to catch some rest. There's plenty of work to do. I'll see about those books as well that we talked about.
Indeed. Thank you. We'll hang up that call. And we'll attempt to get a hold of one Douglas Scott.
And who's Douglas Scott?
So Douglas Scott is currently Horace's only proper client, who is very important to keep track of or keep tabs on, as his emotional and mental state is it's very unstable, and so leaving him or disconnecting him from contact could be very worrying. He would very much be a poor individual, so trying to contact him would not be as clear cut.
You could try the phone at his boarding house.
Yes.
There'd be one for the entire building.
Mm-hmm.
So it rings a few times, and then a steely-voiced woman picks up, who you recognize as the landlady isn't quite right, 'cause it's the boarding house, so she would also be like cooking the meals and stuff. She goes, Upper Brown House.
Yes. I am looking for one Douglas Scott. This is his psychologist speaking.
Dr. Young. He's out.
Out. For how long?
She said he'd be back for dinner.
And did he say where he was going?
Shopping.
Did he seem in any way perturbed? Or did he in having any of his fits? Or was he together?
No, he's been. Dr. Young, forgive me. I don't. Where I grew up, we handled things a bit different. I was skeptical, but he's been quite good for the last few days. He's been in good spirits.
Very good. Very good to hear. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to check in on him. It has been some time since our last session. Pleased to hear he's doing well.
Yeah, he got a job. He's working as a loading boy at the grocery.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That should help him along quite nicely.
What, you want me to have him call you?
Oh yes, that would be wonderful.
Just at your office?
No, I am out at the moment on a bit of an unexpected business trip. At the Metropolitan Hospital.
All right, I'll see about getting to call you later.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
You take care.
He will step out.
Is there any other phone calls people want to make?
Yes, I do need to leave a message, if possible, with the college secretary, or hopefully someone will be on staff on a Saturday afternoon.
There would be one of the students would be handling the message taking. Just telling them you're not going to be in.
Yes, I'm going to be out with an illness. I'm in the hospital for the next few days, just being checked to ensure there's nothing serious going on. No, don't worry, I'll be fine. But if you could reach out to the head secretary at the seminary and let them know that my classes will need to be led by an alternate, potentially on Monday, perhaps a day or two longer.
Of course. We'll see that someone, if no one can no one can handle your classes, we'll cancel them and make sure the students know if that's what it comes to.
No. If no one can handle the classes, then call the hospital and let me know. I will give you pages of reading for my students. They mustn't fall behind.
Oh, yes, of course. Simply, we can definitely handle that.
Thank you. The number here looks to be JS3Y.
Of course, Professor.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless. Have a wonderful day.
I hope you feel better. God bless.
Well, that deals with that then. Now, let's see about getting ourselves cleared of whatever this potential bug is that's keeping us here, shall we?
Yes, we've got some questions to answer, I suppose. On the walk back to our communal hospital room, I want to ask the nurse. She's like guiding us, right?
Yeah.
Do you have courier service or outgoing mail if I were wanting to send something to a friend of mine in town?
We have mail. Yes.
Excellent. Could you send something for me?
Yes, we can. You still have to pay.
That's all right.
Unfortunately, the hospital can't handle all that. The donors simply wouldn't be pleased.
No, I imagine not.
Yes, of course, we can handle that.
Thank you. And Raymond will kind of pull out his camera and like take it back for a second and like fish around for a bit of twine in his pocket and like tie it around it such that nobody opens it and exposes the film prematurely. And said, could you here? And he'll write down the address of his friend on a piece of paper. Could you mail this and just let me know what I owe you for it?
Of course. Thank you. I'll if you're all prepared to send the doctor up presently.
I think I am. Gang, are you?
It's quite all right with me if it is with everyone else.
Whatever
see why
gets
not.
us out of here faster.
Is it, and I will ask the group here, is it worth letting Detective know that we're awake? Or should we enjoy this quiet Saturday morning?
Let's hear the nature of these questions, and then perhaps we'll get in touch with the good detective.
Good shout, old chap.
Well, then yes, we'll await the doctor in our rooms.
Send him up.
The doctor comes in. He takes the record off the player. You can hear the clock on the wall, and he goes, "Well, let's just get right down to it, shall we? Have any of you been in a tropical country any time in the past 3 years?"
At my age, of course not.
No.
I've never left this city, so
Not unless you count Switzerland.
Tropical. Tommy.
Mr. Cole?
Well, I obviously, I'm from England. I've been in France. I've spent a little bit of time around the Mediterranean until recently.
Not quite the tropics, but definitely of note. Excellent. Well, not excellent, but thank you for your candor. Have any of you, and remember, none of these questions here can be used again in any criminal case against you. All this is privileged information. It's only for healthcare purposes. Have any of you violated the Volstead Act any time in the past month?
Any what, sorry?
Have you drank?
Oh,
of course not.
no, of
Who do you
course not.
Take us for.
Yes, repeatedly. It's my job.
Teetotaler for the majority of my adult life.
Yeah, I've drank a fair bit.
I'm a lady. How dare you?
You work in a bar.
Shut up, Tommy!
Yeah, but that's new slang for a dress shop.
Yeah, that one.
I will remind you that I stitched your knuckles closed, Miss Olive, and smelled your breath when you first came in.
You see. Okay, fine. Maybe I had a drink. One. But who's to say?
As I said, none of this is. We'll go to the cops.
I cover the social scene. Of course I drink.
There are a number of things out there that cause all sorts of states of delirium that are being pawned off as hard liquor. That, in fact, is potentially useful for you, in that it is not it is less likely to be an illness. Any rashes?
I can't already explain.
And then, I guess the final question would be: have you had blackout instances like this before?
Like this, no. No, the aforementioned violation of the Volstead Act has led to other blackout incidents, but those are all explicable through ordinary means.
Nothing along these lines since my years with the United States Army. And that was, well, more than 40 years ago.
Some memories of France are a little hazy.
Of course.
But that's more sort of gradual blocking out. I've never felt like this where I just don't remember what I've done.
Well, all of this mostly makes sense to me, and it's kind of as good as we can hope for here. No sneezing, coughing, vomiting from any of you since you've been up?
Great.
Certainly not.
Well, excellent. I mean, all of this sounds fairly good. We'll have to keep you under observation, but basically, if you make it to tomorrow and there's no outward signs of illness, there's not another incident, there's no reason to keep you.
Excellent news.
So I guess we'll have a care package. The nurse will be bring a care package up for you soon, and we try to make it as comfortable as possible. And I'll be by again for rounds of the evening. The nurse will be on call for the floor. The whole wing is a little bit hands off, as you're all. No one there's surgery here. It's mostly people just recovering at their own pace. And we'll simply deal with the other two gentlemen when they wake up.
How many other patients are there in this wing, Doctor?
In total, or from your particular incident?
Oh, well, both, actually, if you don't mind.
Well, this wing of the hospital is quarantine. We have a few different smaller quarantines going on right now. The exact numbers would be several dozen, but the entirety of the group of you that was found in Central Park is in this room.
Do we have any need to be concerned about the quarantine of these others that you mentioned? I wouldn't want to become ill with someone else's disease while I'm here.
Of course, it's why we ensure that the hallways are kept clear, and it's why we ensure that you're not ever in the same rooms. Two of the rooms are quite low on the communicable nature when it comes to air. They're transmitted more through skin contact and the like. And then the TV room is kept highly controlled.
Doctor, about the other two.
Yeah.
Are they? Look, they look pretty rough. Are they gonna make it?
It's a very kind question, Mr. Cole.
John Doe, over there, as I'm taking to calling him, he's perfectly stable and seems to be worse off than any of you, but no reason we don't see him recover. Albert, though, is a different story. He stands up and he goes over to look at the other sleeping man. And looks down at him, and you see this look of sadness in his face for a moment. Another story entirely. Well,
I'm sorry, Doctor. Are you implying he's not likely to survive?
he's not out of the woods, as it would be. He's not out of the woods. He's in a bad way, and we don't know if he'll ever wake up. Certainly part of it.
I see.
And don't know if he would want to, but such is the challenges of times such as ours and being a doctor. There's nothing else for me right now. I'll leave you to it and have someone along shortly.
Thank you. Doctor, we do have the run of the island other than avoiding the communicable diseases, right? As long as we stay on the grounds, we're...
As long as you let myself or the nurse or someone else, the hospital staff, know to ensure that technically I have to keep you under quarantine until I have proof that there's nothing you're doing that's communicable. But it looks to me like it was you'll forgive me, Professor Devenol, but it looks to me that the most likely cause is a bad batch of some sort of moonshine, and then you were unconscious by the time you got here, Devenol, so maybe it was you were trying to direct them. Maybe you were involved in an engagement with some other ones.
Horse feathers! Horse feathers! There's under no conditions would I have imbibed any such substance.
As I said, you were unconscious when you got here. Maybe it was merely a matter of all of your colleagues were unconscious, and you were attempting to defend them from ne'er-do-wells.
Well, perhaps.
I'll leave you all to it. Did you want to take a walk about the island, Mr. Fox?
Oh, just inquiring about the possibility of one. I'm all right for now, but I'll be wanting to stretch my legs later on.
Of course, of course.
Oh, Doctor. If I am to receive a call this evening, it is vital that I be summoned to answer it immediately. It is of a rather sensitive nature. No matter what I am doing, I give you full license to interrupt me.
Of course, of course. One of your patients?
My client, yes.
Of course, of course. Well, I'll make sure that it's done, and I'll make sure the nurse, or whoever else is on duty, knows.
Thank you.
Puts the record back on before it goes. Walks off.
I don't suppose anyone is in possession of a deck of cards. Perhaps we could play a game of bridge.
I actually might enjoy that, but I think we could do something a little more exciting. Although, let me just have a look at our companions here. I'm going to go over to the people that Olive recently robbed.
Yeah.
Hey.
Just flavor narration. So was it Aiden? He was
Albert
using
and John.
Albert is the one that's not looking great right now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start off by just I'm gonna grab some rosary beads out of my pocket and just kind of like I'm gonna do a little prayer for him. But then I would like to examine him a little bit closer, look at his injuries, and maybe see if there's something like not right about it. Because this whole thing smells off.
Okay. Roll me a first aid. Is anyone else kind of watching Tommy Cole do it, looking over his shoulder or anything?
Ooh.
I would have walked over with him as well, actually also wanting to be praying for the man, and would have taken note of Tommy's prayer and allowed him to do his thing first.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of just, I start off with just a prayer, like I am just sort of muttering for Mary to take care of him. And then, yeah, like I just start looking over it, and I rolled an extreme success.
Yeah. So, anyone, I mean, whoever's around him is going to be making a sanity check, actually, at that.
Hey.
I'm not sorry.
So we'll start with Tommy, and then...
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
You
I
are
am sorry
around
if
yourself, sir.
And then we'll do Devinald and anyone else who is around as well.
Oh, I hope my sanity was right.
Only one on a failure.
Ready for mine?
Mm-hmm.
That would be 0.
Yeah. Is anyone else around, or are you the three of you doing something else entirely?
I'm looking around this room to see if there's any goods.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm casing the joint also.
We'll jump to you three then. Or sorry, Young, are you also casing the joint, or are you investigating?
Yeah, I would want to be near to Dr. Fox. So you have a quiet conversation with him at some point.
Oh yeah, we'll do that next. So Tommy, he's heavily bandaged, and you're able to like expertly kind of look at what they've done, and you are able to like kind of shift the bandages a little bit carefully to get an idea of what's going on. This man is exceedingly burned. He doesn't have lips anymore. They've cooked off. His nose is burned off. His eyes have melted. It's a wonder he's alive and breathing. Much less, apparently he was walking around, or a lot of you were trying to make sure he survived or something. That first aid extreme success, yeah, you're looking at him, you're checking these wounds, and this is brutally bad. Tommy would have seen miracles in the battlefield, the kind of thing of someone being next to artillery when it lands and being thrown at that one person who survives, but it's not something to count on. It's a miracle. It's you understand the doctor's horror. This is not the thing that a New York City doctor would see.
It's different points of view on miracle here, but
It is a miracle that he's alive, not necessarily a miracle that you'd want him to be alive.
God in heaven preserve him. Should you be fussing with his bandages that way, Mr. Cole?
With that, Cole, you also he's on enough narcotics that he probably can't feel anything. Like, for him to be able to sleep, he's got to be so far gone.
I don't think he's going to notice this. I don't think he's going to notice anything, to be honest. What happened? What did we see?
That is the question, isn't it?
Why did someone blow something up?
You think it was an explosion?
This guy's fried. I clearly protected myself from something.
My hand is burned as well, and my arm severely wounded.
How? I don't know.
If I hadn't discharged my pistol, Mr. Cole, I would wonder if it wasn't some jury-rigged attempt at making hooch in the basement of that place of ill repute that we found ourselves perhaps 2 nights ago, but I can't imagine firing my weapon at such a thing.
Black Rabbit was a classy place. It knew what it was doing. I don't think this would have just happened.
Quite right. Quite right. I've read articles, that's all that I'm saying. It's very dangerous making alcohol without the correct equipment.
I just think we got involved with something bad. And I'm worried who we got involved with.
One of those hooch gangs, you mean?
You don't get out a lot, do you, Doctor?
I walk around my neighborhood almost every day, Mr. Cole. What could you possibly mean?
Did you enjoy the show?
Do you remember the show?
No, but I've seen it before.
One of my neighbor's children was going to be reciting a poem that night. That's all I know of it.
Fox and Young, you wanted to have a conversation?
Yes. So maybe once Fox kind of splits from Olive, you spoke with Mr. Tiller.
I did, but
Do you know him?
no. I think that really, I have to imagine that the only time that I've really spoken to him at length must have been the night that I can't remember. I'd met him, but I don't. Not with the kind of reception he gave me when I called him.
Yes, no, it seems that I had a very good idea that I told him about. That involved you, perhaps. Issue is, I can't remember what it was.
Perhaps it has something to do with this telegram that is in my pocket. Well, this half of a telegram. When we get out of it, we have to resolve to go to this the Manhattan office, the Brooklyn routing office, to see if they have a copy of the whole thing that we could read.
Yes, and that is a good idea.
He seemed to indicate that it was all very hush-hush, this business
Yes.
that we had found ourselves wrapped up in.
That is what worries me. You are a journalist, yes?
Yes, but I haven't had time to dig myself into any sorts of sordid holes. I cover the nightlife, for goodness sake. I've been on the job for 3 weeks.
Right. Well, it seems either myself or you came up with some way of curtailing the negative press that might emerge about us. I would be interested to see once we get out. Perhaps we should ask for a paper.
Yes, I was actually, as we were walking around the room, kind of separate from the others, that's what Ray was looking for. Is he was like, did they put newspapers out for us? Do we have any? Nothing?
Nope, there's no newspapers.
Yes.
There will be one in particular that will give us an indication of our standing. Now, Tyler, did you come up with a name for Mr. Robert Aaron's paper?
Mr. Robert Aaron's paper was the Upper East Examiner.
Have you heard of the Upper East Examiner?
Oh, a bit of it. It's sort of a competitor to my father's paper.
Oh, good. Then neither of us are on proper terms with Mr. Aaron, then.
No, I imagine not.
We are not exactly friends. If he has nothing poor to say about me in his paper, no one will.
When I had called a friend of mine to get those photos developed, he mentioned something about a new magician from Europe. He didn't have any specifics, but I have to think that a magician, his act gone wrong, could perhaps explain something of well, a mysterious night.
That is possible. Hypnosis is a favorite tactic of the newer magicians. It could cause aberrant or even violent behavior. That would require all of us to buy in, so to speak. And I can't see Professor Devenald being willing to undergo such a thing. Not the least in the name of... but that is the fickle thing with hypnotism. It requires will. You cannot be something of a misconception. You cannot be hypnotized without your consent. It requires you to at least be open to the possibility of being relaxed.
Well, that's somewhat reassuring, actually.
Yes, it's still a possibility. I have undergone the process myself in a more official setting.
Something a little bit more controlled than a nightclub.
Indeed. Sometimes I question some of those labs, what goes on after hours, but the point is, it can cause memory loss if that is a part of the suggestion. Perhaps there are a few things I could try with some of us to russet out some of those memories if they were indeed caused by hypnosis.
Well, I'm game for anything. We seem to have an ever-growing list of leads to chase down once we're not stuck on this damnable island.
Indeed. I really should start carrying a watch with me. I have one in my office, but my office is not on this island.
All of your case in the joint?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm specifically looking for anything shiny or valuable.
Okay.
Or something that could be used as a weapon that's small.
Okay. That sounds like a spot hidden. Shiny and valuable. There's not a ton. It is a hospital room. There's not a ton that's left around. As for a weapon, it's not hard to find underneath one of the beds towards the end of the hall. Is a bunch of bars. It appears to be extra replacement parts and bars for the beds in case they break. So it's not hard to just get what a 1.5 foot, 2 foot long heavy metal bar. Just a pile of them.
I want to try to grab one of them stealthily and hide it under my pillow. If it's too big for a pillow, then just tuck it in my bed.
Yeah, you'd be definitely able to tuck your bed next to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I want to see if the door is unlocked. Like, have they locked us in here?
Nope.
Okay.
If you look,
I'm just gonna be. Is there like a window in the door?
Yep.
I'm just gonna watch the halls while everybody's doing their own thing. Then after that.
Okay. Yeah.
But once Tommy is done, the phone will ring.
Yeah.
Now, is there a phone? The phone's not in the room,
Nope. It's down the hallway. You can hear it.
but we can hear it.
And I open the door
Yep.
quietly.
Yeah.
And if there's no one coming down the hall, can I sneak to the phone room and see if I can hear anything?
Yeah.
Now, it's... What
Can
time
I
is it? It's
follow
still
on?
around mid...
Oh, about 2 by now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's. Ray's gonna just like walk down the hall after them.
No one's picking up the phone?
I'll pick up the phone if no one else is. Oh.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hello, Metropolitan Hospital. This is Dr. Raymond speaking.
Really good.
Mr. Young, I'm calling for this is Mr. Scott calling for Mr. Young.
Oh, yes, just one moment, please. Horace? Horace! Mr. Scott for you. Are you in?
Horace will rush out of the room.
He's right here.
I wasn't expecting him so early. Thank you.
Yeah, hand the phone
And
over.
he'll kind of he'll take the phone and then look expectantly at everyone crowded around in the room.
Wow.
I'm not leaving.
If you wouldn't mind.
I would mind greatly. This is the most entertainment I'm gonna have all day.
I am speaking with a client. Please.
Olive, let's just listen outside the door. Come on.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Sorry. Let's close the door and like put our ear to the door.
Mr. Scott, lovely to hear from you.
Mr. Young, how are you?
I am doing well. I apologize for missing our session yesterday. I was overcome with a bout of ill health. I'm currently recovering. I trust you were not too disturbed.
No, I've been good. I've been good.
Oh,
Very
good. So lovely to hear. You're well then.
I'm fantastic, Doctor. I'm doing very good.
Now, does he sound? Obviously, there's what I am picking up, but does he sound? Is this how I would normally expect him to
Nope.
sound? Okay, so something. I could probably guess that something is off.
Yes.
What's the nature of their relationship again?
Douglas,
Yes, Mr. Young?
have you been seeing them again?
No. I've met someone new.
Really?
He has a message for you.
And what does he look like, if you wouldn't mind?
Older man who wears a suit. Widow's peaks.
Now, we've spoken of this. Do you see him, or do others see him?
Others see him too.
And he has approached you.
Yes. He helped me get the job. He's been very helpful.
Yes, your job at, where was it? The grocers.
Yeah, the grocery up the street.
Oh, lovely. I'm sure that will do wonders for you. This man, what is his name?
He asked me not to tell you yet.
No, you understand, Douglas. Everything we say is covered by confidentiality. I, of course, will not reveal to him if you tell me his name.
But he said something similar. He said he's like a priest. And those are supposed to be secret too.
Yes, I understand. Thank you for... My apologies for asking you to invalidate your principle of confidentiality. Did he leave anywhere to contact me? Or for me to contact him?
No, he said you'd be in contact soon enough.
Ah, yes. Of course.
The eyes opening.
I'm sorry?
Hmm?
Can you repeat that? I believe there is something interrupted the connection.
He said that it's almost time to wake up. For everything to wake up. That it's almost time for the eyes to open.
Yes, I see, Douglas. We will address this in our next session. Are you still available on Friday morning?
Of course, yes.
Lovely, lovely. I will see you then.
That was the message she asked me to give you, by the way.
I had surmised. Thank you. You have done... This is good news, Douglas, that you are improving. I hope to hear great things about this job of yours.
Of course. I hope you feel better, Dr. Young.
Well, thank you. I feel much better already. Hearing of your fortune has hastened my recovery, lifted my spirits quite so much. I look forward to meeting your priest friend.
Hopefully it won't be too long. You two are you two have a lot in common.
Wonderful to hear. I'm afraid I must go, Douglas. I must... Duty calls. You understand.
Of course.
Goodbye. Well, not as much progress as I expected. Unfortunate. Now, those listening at the door, do they just hear, or do they need to...
Yeah, do we
they're
hear
for a listen.
Okay.
If you make sure they actually close the door, they have to roll a listen.
Okay.
You want to go first?
I'll take that challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Oops.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And now me with a listen. No. I'm listening just at the wall.
Olive is hugging the... Olive is like positioned so that no one else can actually get to the door.
Yep.
Just showing their face by the way.
She is in a perfect spot.
Soak up all the sound.
Yeah.
I would have stayed back, and I'm praying for the Mr. Doe in bandages.
Phone starts ringing again, by
Okay.
the way, Young.
I want to open the door.
Mhm.
Are you gonna answer it?
Yes. He'll pick it up. Hello? Mr. Young speaking.
I wandered around and finally found there's somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be me, might never be cross, or try to be the boss. What they wouldn't do for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be wonderful. You.
Is the line still connected after that?
Yep.
To whom am I speaking? Are you calling about my practice?
Nothing in the line.
Horace, you've gone pale. What? Who's on the line?
Give me a moment. Were you the one who spoke? Douglas Scott. I promise you, if you have any problems with me or my work, or with any of my colleagues back in Europe, he is not involved. Do not harm him. Come to me. I will meet you. I will speak with you. Just do not go near him.
Nothing on the other end of the line.
Hang it up.
Okay. Dr. Horace Young. Mr. Horace Young. Roll me a knowledge.
So that's the same as education, right?
Yes.
Hard success. There we go.
Those were the lyrics from a song. It had to be you, written in 19.
I have never hoped. He'll generally say to the people like standing in the doorway, I have never hoped for someone to be calling me exhibiting severe psychosis. Until today.
What did they want?
That is hard to say. They seem to like music.
Oh, that's nice.
As well as my client, Mr. Scott. Oh, I hope he hasn't got himself into danger again.
Again.
Himself? What about yourself, Doctor? Professor? You?
Horace. I am not... Back in Europe, I worked with some dangerous individuals. Dangerous to themselves and others. I am used to being threatened, raved at, even attacked. But someone going after my clients is profoundly disturbing. I am sorry. I should not be burdening you all with this. We all have work to do, yes? Getting out of here?
Yes, but I suppose. But before we go, Ray's gonna pick up the phone and just try and get to an operator.
Yep. Operator.
Could you tell me anything about the line that was just connected through to this this address? Just a moment ago. Did it happen to run through your?
The outgoing, you had one incoming call from, looks like from a boarding house over in Manhattan.
Horace, Mr. Scott's in a boarding house in Manhattan, right?
That's correct.
Nothing else incoming from outside of any that was the only incoming.
Only call that's gone to that number in the past few hours.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Hang
You
up.
take care.
Operator says that Mr. Scott's call came in, but that was the only connection that was made to this line.
Oh dear.
We all heard the phone ring, right?
I heard a lot more than that.
Well, yes, thank you.
Olive, I feel like we've been incredibly calm through all of this, and I commend us for that. I think
I do too.
I think it's exactly the moment to start freaking out.
I wouldn't say that.
I agree, Tommy.
I want to get out. I want this to stop. I'm done. I will swim back to Boston. What do we do right now?
Tommy, what we'll do is we will put a call into the legal firm that has taken our case on and see if there are any updates on the case.
No,
It's the
forget that.
weekend. They're gonna take all weekend to get back to us.
Yeah. And I want to know what happened. I mean, there's days that I'm missing. And, like, you know, I did lie to that doctor. I drink, okay, guys? And there's been times where I've, there's been times where I've, my memory's been hazy and, like, I've been forgetful, but not for, like, days. So, and I'm going to pick up the phone call. Let me try something. And I want to try to call Catherine,
Who's Catherine?
my flapper friend. Don't know why I said it like that.
Flapper friend.
My flapper friend.
My
Olive
flapper
claims to be a New York City native, but the truth is coming out in her accent.
Oh no.
J'accuse.
Okay. It rings. It rings. It rings. And hello. Sorry for the way I was just powdering my nose.
Catherine, darling, it's me.
Oh,
Your favorite Olive. Yeah. Listen, you know the Black Rabbit?
What?
The Black Rabbit, the place I was, working at.
What you haven't been? No, we've been trying to find you a new gig ever since Eve's got shut down.
No, I told you. I thought I told you I found a new gig at the Black Rabbit.
What?
Down by insert name here. That place.
What? There's no place called the Black Rabbit on Bleecker.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Catherine. Do you have a newspaper around you by any chance? Have you heard anything happen at Central Park the past few days? A few days ago? Maybe somebody punching a heroic woman saving a burning man? Punching things?
One second. Hey, Sue! Sue, did you grab the paper?
Mm-mm.
What? Bring it here. Bring it. So, you something about Central Park?
Yeah. Heroic girl with, 4 other men who was punching and saving people. Did you hear anything?
No, there's something about like some sort of art piece that got out of hand or some sort of like I don't know. There's something in here about some rich to-do, some Dr. Fox. It's apparently put on some sort of art display thing. It was like a theater thing in the park. I don't know.
Dr. Fox, I heard about your art exhibit. Congrats.
Thank you. What?
Wait, you don't know about your own art exhibit?
Not if it happened when we got found in Central Park.
Okay, what else is there, my friend Catherine?
What else there? New York's a big city.
Well, okay. Is there anything about fire? Fire. Lots of fire.
Is there any
Something that can melt somebody's eyeballs out of their head.
Wait, what? Are you okay there, hon?
No, I'm barely holding together, so if you could just find me a fire or something to do with rabbits.
A fire.
Specifically black rabbits.
Black rabbits. All right. Just give me a second.
Okay.
They're flipping through the paper and she's like, I got I got a gas leak that killed the husband and wife.
I'll take a gas leak that killed the husband and the wife.
It didn't light on fire. I'm trying.
Okay, that's fine.
What about? I don't know. I got. Wait, it needs to be a big fire.
I'll take a small fire. It doesn't have to be big. I'm not picky.
I mean, there was a small fire down at the. I mean, this is a protest.
Oh,
They had some barrels. It's just some union thing.
okay. Small fire at Union.
They just lit
Protest.
some barrels, just burning garbage and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That
I think it's the dock workers.
I'm totally all for dock workers' rights. That's totally something I would have done a few nights ago.
Well, I mean, that was last night.
That was ooh,
But he's got to
Okay.
be. What night are we looking for?
like 4 nights ago.
The sixth.
Oh, it's on the 6th specifically.
So 3 nights ago. It's got like night of the 6th.
Yeah.
It needs to be a fire.
It needs to be a fire, right, guys?
Morning of the 7th.
We'll take disappearances as well.
Find out more about my art installation. That sounds like fun.
Okay. I'm looking for fires. More on that art exhibit. That sounds lovely. I really want to learn more about that. And any
What?
weird disappearances?
Well, I mean, he called it an art exhibit. It was some sort of like a theater thing. They were apparently acting, and I mean, the cops broke it up. But apparently, it was just some show. Where I don't know. They say no one got hurt, nothing, but they were worried they had.
Okay. All right, Catherine. That, you know what?
But
That totally makes. Yep. Mhm.
But I mean, fires. I got nothing. There's nothing. I mean, I only get the voice, and I mean, Sue gets the Examiner, and the Post. But the Post, it's not even worth like.
Okay, cool. No fires. Listen, Catherine, do you have any friends that maybe have like a small boat?
A small boat?
Small boat. I'm not picky, just I have $175 if you could get me a small boat by tomorrow to
What? Well, you got $35. What do you need?
I need a
Like,
small
you need to
boat.
buy the boat?
No, I just need a small boat to take me off this island from the Metropolitan Hospital, okay?
Oh, you're on welfare island.
Yeah.
Look, hon. Like if
Yeah.
it's one of the things that drips, they got to help you there.
No. I'm not sick. I just need to get off this. Catherine, listen. It's all a big misunderstanding. You can have whatever you want of mine. Mine is yours. Can you get me a small boat?
Well, you just need someone to bring you a boat and get you off that. You don't need to buy a boat.
No, I don't need to buy the boat, but I need someone who doesn't keep logs of people coming on and off the island.
All right. I mean, it's gonna cost you, but I can get you off the island.
Okay.
Well,
Yep.
I can't. I can't. But
I know. I figured. Just call me when you figure it out. But like, don't be obvious when you call. Like, well, just call and say, "I need to talk to Olive. It's an emergency," and I'll know that you're calling about a boat. Okay?
well, I mean, like when you say tonight, like 2 in the morning, like what? Just whatever works.
Whatever works. Nightfall, preferable. That's great.
Nightfall or after night?
No, the night. I need
During the night.
during the
Okay.
night. Yes. Thanks, Catherine.
Okay. Them cockroaches got you locked up?
Listen, McGowan got me in here.
A McGowan, that cocksucker.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait to see him again.
All right. Well, we'll. I think I can make some calls.
All right, I got it in cash, so just whatever they need. Just
Got it in cash. It just.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Get just you off the island. Okay.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
So good news. Your art exhibit, it went grand. It was fantastic. Everybody loved it so much the cops broke it up it was actually an acting exhibit. I didn't know you were an actor, but apparently there was an exhibit at the park, Central Park. Perhaps.
Horace, I think that explains why Tiller hired me a lawyer. We made something of an impression with our cover story. Now, if only we knew what we were covering.
Okay, Olive. Sounds like you've got a plan. I'm gonna commit to this freaking out thing, Professor, Doctor, Doctor.
Horace is fine.
I'm gonna go freak out. I'm gonna go find out what's going on, and
Yep. Have fun.
I take. Did I get the cigarettes? I'm gonna take a single cigarette, put one behind my ear, chuck Olive the pack. Like, you look like you need one of these.
I'm just gonna light up right in this room.
I'm gonna go find this doctor's office in a somewhat nonchalant but purposeful way.
Okay.
After we follow that, I'd like to make some other calls, but we can, get back to me.
Yeah, Tommy. You head down the hallway. There's no doctor's office in this floor. You are on appears to be the top floor of patients, to be an attic above, which is probably storage. You head down to the first floor and you find his office. It is a little bit busier down here. There's a couple other doctors and quite a few nurses milling around. Yeah, you find Dr. Leopold Gilchrist's office. He's in it right now.
Okay. Is anybody else around?
Yes.
Oh. So it's like there are people in this hospital. That at least eases my concerns a little bit.
Yes. You're just up on a corner. You are in. So from here, you're able to look around and see that there's other buildings. There's a bunch of other buildings in this hospital. You're just in the quarantine building, which is going to tend to be quieter and more locked off. There's about half a dozen nurses and 3 doctors down here.
And they're all in this room or something? Or
No, around the main floor.
They're all dotted around. Okay.
There's several nurses in the front lobby area. They're doing paperwork. They're making sure medication measurements are correct. Going over charts.
Kind of committed to this freak out now.
Go freak out Adam. It's right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into. I'm gonna knock, but then just walk into his office and close the door.
Mr. Cole.
Okay, Doctor. I'm having a little bit of a freak out right now, and that's really not helping any part of this experience. So can I just see the notes, please, of what I said to you on, 2 days ago, the morning of the 7th.
Yeah, of course. It's your records, of course.
Okay.
Hands them over to you. So they are short form doctor's notes, and it details that basically you were excessively concerned about security. You were worried that you just kept referring to they're going to come and get us. They're going to find their way through.
Who was they? Who was I talking about?
We couldn't get you to say. You were vague. You were quite agitated. You were quite concerned about some sort of. You kept saying there's some sort of intersection.
Intersection.
Yes.
Is there like a crossing?
Presumably. You were very there was an upcoming intersection you were very concerned about. You were worried that you weren't safe enough here. And after we got you finally into the room and you were sedated, you calmed significantly and began to talk about you spoke about tunneling through the walls to make trenches before singing some song I didn't recognize. It sounded like a British military song. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't serve. A bit too old.
And I was in Central Park.
That's where the doctor said the detective said he found you. Yes.
Did I say anything about Black Rabbit? Black Rabbit Society, or anything like that?
You all kept insisting you'd come from the Black Rabbit. Yes.
Insisting implies you don't think we did.
Well, I don't know of any place.
Okay.
The detective seemed quite convinced no such place exists. I don't personally keep up on the name of each particular speakeasy, saloon, drink house. I don't. I'm sorry, I couldn't say.
Okay. And did I say where I got my injuries from?
No, you said you'd been fighting again. You'd been fighting them, but nothing specific, which is what I'm guessing you're asking about.
I was fighting someone. I mean, you're a good doctor. You definitely took the wind out of my freak out sails, but
Well, I'm glad to help.
Can I take the rest of the notes back to the group?
Yes. Nothing from the two. Nothing from the two gentlemen who are identified because they can't consent, obviously. But it's an unusual circumstance. I'm going to entrust you to not go through these or share with anyone without that person's permission because it's their documentation, their files.
I get that. Can I, as I'm kind of like having this conversation, can I sort of scan the room of his office if there's anything that kind of stands out as a little off?
Let me spot him.
No, I don't want to pay the 10 luck. I will accept failure on that.
Pretty normal doctor's office. He's got his accreditations in the walls, diplomas that have all been framed.
You could push.
Yeah, you could just like start rifling through his stuff.
Just like kind of awkwardly pace around and walk behind his desk. And
I guess
examine the
I don't
pictures
know. My
of his
only
family.
push would be like I'd actually just start freaking out and then I'll hit him. And I wasn't planning on hitting him, but I'd kind of calm down from that.
You're always able to push if you can explain to me how you're pushing.
I can't. I will just accept the failure and I'll just be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for freaking out, Doctor. I'm really struggling with this, and I just kind of want to know what happened.
Of course.
If I can take those notes back, I'll talk about it with maybe talking about it together will jostle something.
Oh, hopefully. Someone else wanted to make calls, I believe.
That's me.
Actually, as I'm leaving, very quickly, I will just say, Doctor, are you hiding anything from us?
Am I hiding it? What? Are you feeling okay, Mr. Cole? I would.
No, I'm not, and I kind of need to know, and I just want to believe you.
I'm merely a doctor trying to do my job. It's we're all stuck in an unusual circumstance, and I recognize that. I'm worried. I hope you're okay. I don't want this to be another break. Between you and me, I don't think. And if you were to ever try to repeat this to a lawyer or anything, I deny it. Because I have to. But I highly suspect that the whole quarantine was just McGowan wants more time to hold you to build a case. And I have forms I have to check, and it's enough that I have to go through. It's enough that I can't really dismiss it out of hand. To me, it seems like an overzealous moral crusader who, maybe you were all having a bad night, something seems to certainly have been amiss, but has decided he can make something out of it.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck. I do hope that you get to the bottom of that. I'll help you in what ways I can.
And I'll take the paperwork, but I don't think I'm going to go back to the group straight away. I might linger, but let's hear some phone calls.
Yeah.
While that conversation was happening, I would have finished praying over the poor lad and the bandages and come out to see what on earth is taking everyone so long out in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Have you finished your phone call? Was it for one of us, or...?
It was for me, Professor. Horace is, like, again, nervously pacing, like, rubbing his temples.
I gather it wasn't good news, Mr. Young?
No, indeed not. We need to get out of here. I fear for one of my clients' safety.
Oh
I
dear.
got a boat. Okay.
She has a boat.
I'm sorry, a boat?
Yeah, listen, Professor, things aren't exactly what they seem. Because, okay, everybody in this group remembers Black Rabbit, right?
I've never been there, but that was to be my destination.
Yeah,
Apparently 2 nights ago, yes.
I called one of my trusted friends, and they say the Black Rabbit never existed.
Well, she's clearly mistaken.
Nope.
Perhaps she's just never been there before. I'd never heard of it before Mr. Young invited me there.
She said it doesn't exist. We're kind of running in the same circles, so if I know, she knows, and...
Does it go by a different name?
I mean, when I say we, I mean, you know, Dr. Raymond over there found a card for the Black Rabbit. You have that on you still, right? The invitation or whatever? Yeah.
Yes, the invitation. Absolutely. June 6th, the Black Rabbit Cabaret.
Yeah. And there's, you know what happened on June 6th? Actually, instead, Dr. Frox had an art exhibit. Back to yours.
All
An
of
art
you.
exhibit, Raymond.
I think that's actually just what we told the police to explain whatever it was that we were getting up to.
What if the cabaret was the art exhibit and perhaps it wasn't at the location? If I understand correctly, it wasn't exactly all above board.
The good ones never are.
As you say, but perhaps the location of the performance
Was that Central
changes?
Park?
Oh,
It
How-
would
how
explain
close-
why we were in Central Park.
how close is Bleecker Street to Central Park? Do we know?
Not really.
Not like more
Bleecker
than.
Street is down in Greenwich Village. Central Park is up quite a bit.
We wouldn't ask a bunch of, socialites to walk in their fancy shoes that far.
Double check the walk. It's a walk.
Well, all right. So the business that isn't above board isn't well known, or perhaps isn't in the location that it is meant to be in. That is something of a bit of concern, but I don't see why it doesn't seem like that big of a problem.
Also, there's the fact that you have burns. I feel like Tommy had burns, and then there was a man who has no eyeballs from him, them melting out of his head. And there were
that
no
poor young
reported
man.
fires on that night.
What do you mean?
No fires, no explosions. I made very clear to look for fires or explosions that happen anywhere, and they did
Where
not.
were you looking?
Newspaper.
Oh, you found a newspaper.
Sorts, in a way, as one does.
Can I see it?
I hung up, so no, you can't.
Miss Olive, you hung up on the newspaper.
I did.
You were speaking to a newspaper on the telephone.
Sure was.
Mr. Young,
Yes,
is there
yes.
reason for concern at this point over poor Miss Olive's confusion?
I
I'm
believe,
gonna cross my arms and flex my muscles.
I believe that's using some very odd wording. She is referring to a friend that she was calling who had access to a newspaper and was relating the information to her. Unsure why she would need to couch her statements in such a way.
What sort of tomfoolery are you trying to commit here, young Miss Olive? Just speak plainly.
I mean, piracy tonight, right?
Piracy, you mean this boat that you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
You procured yourself a boat.
Yep. Yes, sir.
She, no, we.
Friends, we all agreed that we wouldn't want to infect the city if we are ill.
Oh, I'm not getting on the boat. Don't get it mistaken. I'm not getting on the boat.
For
In
what
fact-
it is worth, Professor, I do not believe that our contagion is of the physical variety, nor is it spreadable.
See, and he's
At least
kind
not
of
by
a
us.
doctor, so that's good enough
But-
for me.
Are you a doctor, Mr. Young? I was under the impression that wasn't the case, based on our correspondence.
No, not as such. No. Anyway, there are more pressing matters at
Yes.
hand. One of my clients is in trouble. He called me, seemed very disaffected, which is not uncommon. He is a paranoid schizophrenic. Although the man that he claimed to meet wished to speak with me seemed very real. The others and myself heard the phone ring. I spoke with the man. Although there was no record from the switchboard of any call coming in. It is my belief that we are still perhaps suffering from this group hysteria, and that perhaps it is not entirely natural in its occurrence.
I see.
I believe.
Please, go ahead.
Yes,
Mr. Young.
It is my belief that whoever this man is, he has convinced us to allow ourselves to be hypnotized, and he has given us some post-hypnotic suggestion that both caused this memory loss and continues to menace over my client. I don't. Perhaps he is working for Mr. Errant, and you all simply got caught in the crossfire of someone going after me.
I don't mean to offend, Mr. Young, but I have to admit that I don't give much shrift to this hypnosis concept that's being bandied about these days.
No, I didn't think so.
That man would have the ability to tap into the soul of another man through simple words or the waving of a pocket watch back and forth or some such poppycock. It makes absolutely no sense.
Oh, simply not. It. How can I put this? It is your belief that your mind can be affected that allows your mind to be affected.
Well, then clearly I haven't been affected, have I?
No, that complicates things. Regardless,
Speaking of
we can't.
complicating things.
Yeah, regardless, we can't learn anything here. A very.
Is somebody going to answer it?
Well, I see you guys have been playing secretary, okay?
Yeah,
Mr. Cole.
I'll,
I'm leaning right against the phone with you, like inappropriately. I want to listen in on the talk.
yeah. We're all gonna lean in.
Oh, is Olive there?
Just
Oh,
snatch it out.
yeah.
Yeah. Solid. Did you get the boat?
So Sue's guys, cousin. It doesn't matter. We got a boat coming around, like 2:30. It's gonna be coming underneath the bridge. So is that from the other side? He knows. You'll be able to figure it out. He'll come from the side underneath the bridge, that side of the island, and he says he's gotta drop you off in Brooklyn, though.
I'll take Brooklyn. Brooklyn's fine. You're the best.
All right. Yeah, he's gonna want the money.
Now, between you and me, how big is this guy? Like, do I have to give him a full amount? Like, could I talk him into a discount?
You might be able to talk him into a discount. It's not him you've got to worry about. He's connected, right? Like, he doesn't show back up to work. All of a sudden,
Fine.
my guy's getting questions. I'm getting questions.
You're right.
I like
you're right.
Olive.
Yeah, I like you too. Okay, you know what? I asked for a boat. You gave me a boat. That's enough. Thanks so much. I will see you on the other side.
All right. Best luck with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you. There was separately, like, I think I might have a gig for you. I think you're looking for a job, but we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay, we can talk about the gig later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. I will be getting.
It's not gonna be waiting.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sorry, it was just business. What were we talking about?
We were talking about.
Does anyone want their crazy notes?
Oh yes, I'd love mine, please.
I hand out everyone's crazy notes.
Oh,
Yes.
you have our papers.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
They wouldn't have me let me have dough and dough over there, but I think that's fair given the circumstances.
Besides, I mean, the
Yes,
doctor has to go
quite.
home at some point, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I was hoping it would get a bit quieter later, but his office didn't look that untoward. The guy seems genuine. I think anything that means us harm is off the island.
I mean, if anything,
Did you
he might have a bottle of something tucked away somewhere.
Did you happen to notice?
Yeah, there's booze in here. That's a lie. There was booze on this island.
Did you happen to notice any newspapers in the public areas that you passed through?
I didn't think to look, but you know, people are coming and going, so there must be ways off this island. I assume they're getting news on here.
Miss Olive seems to be under the impression that something is quite amiss and not being reported on properly. I think we should probably try to find some papers ourselves and see if we can find any from the night of the event.
Yeah.
The meeting, I think we should say.
Yes. By all means.
We were told that we were able to walk about if we chose to.
We can. Sorry, the doctor was very calming. I was expecting to hit him, and he just really calmed me down.
What? Why on earth would you strike the man who has been treating you for the past 2 days?
It's kind of a reflex with me. Like, I just...
The old shell shock, eh, Mr. Cole?
Let's go with that, yeah. I kind of look at Olive like...
I've seen it with many of my friends from my army days. I understand. Well, shall we? Perhaps I'll check this swing over here.
You go on ahead. I'm going to call the law firm that's working for me. See if they have any updates. We might not need your boat, Olive.
We can't leave.
Yeah, no, of course we're not gonna leave. All I'm saying is there's gonna be a boat, 2 a.m. That's all I'm saying. I don't know whose boat or where, or why that boat's gonna be there, but there's gonna be a boat under the bridge at 2 a.m. Do with that information what you will.
I quietly nod at Olive.
We're going to do nothing with that. Don't worry, Professor. The law firm's going to let us know that the judge says we're free to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pick up the phone and I'll get the switchboard. And I have it in my notes as Claremont and White is the legal firm. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to try and get through to Claremont and White and see if they've got anybody at the office on a Saturday.
Office of Claremont and White.
Hello. Yes. I'm represented by someone from your firm. My name's Dr. Raymond Fox. I'm wondering if you have any updates. I know that you had sent somebody to go try and dig up a judge on a Saturday.
Yeah, he hasn't called back in. I mean, him not calling is probably good news because it means he's probably found him and he's talking to him.
Well, please, the number to send information my way is JS3Y. That's to this line here. If there's any developments, please call me back.
We're working to get you out of there as soon as possible.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
All right, you take care.
Bye bye. And I'll hang up.
So, Professor Devenhold, were you just going straight downstairs then?
I would have gone, if it was possible, in the opposite direction that Mr. Cole came from, if there's an option. If not, then I would have gone in the same direction. I don't have a good picture of the
Sure. So, the
layout.
hallway you go down, it's kind of just like a straight hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a stair at one end, and the other end just ends at the window.
Okay.
And there's just long rooms on the other side. It's a very basic
Okay.
former
Then yes.
asylum layout.
Then yes, I would have gone downstairs.
Okay. Yeah, you head downstairs. All the way down to the first floor?
What floor are we on again?
Third.
And does the second floor appear to be essentially the same layout as the third floor?
100%.
No obvious public areas or anything like that?
There's a similar kind of small public-ish area, similar to the lobby that was the one that you were getting all the phone calls and stuff in. But it's, there's a nurse there who appears to be doing a crossword.
Crossword. Then I would walk up to. Is she just sitting like at a
desk?
At a desk. Okay. Pardon me, young lady. Do you happen to have a copy of any of the papers from the night of the 6th? Reporting on, I should say.
So the 7th.
Well, yes, the morning of the 7th, reporting on the night of the 6th. Yes.
Yeah, one moment. She leans over and she kind of goes to the papers for a second. She goes, we have the Times and we have the Post. And she hands both over to you.
Thank you kindly. May God bless you abundantly for your kindness.
And to you.
Is it possible that there are any other papers on the first floor?
It's certainly possible. Two of the doctor's offices all are. I know the Times and the Post are kind of what is for patients and stuff usually. If the doctors have anything they're picking up personally, they'd be down there somewhere.
Do you mind very much if I go and look about a bit?
Are you... I can do that for you.
I really feel the need to stretch my legs. It's not a bother at all.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my dear. And I will venture on to the first floor.
Yeah. So yeah, by this point we're getting a little bit later in the day. Starting to get a little bit quieter down here. Dr. Leopold is still in his office. There's a small lobby. There are fewer nurses. It looks like they're starting to organize, getting stuff up for the evening round of medication and probably dinner to be served soon.
Okay. Just glancing around, do I see any newspapers?
Not at a glance.
Okay. Then I will approach if someone looks like they sort of are moving with the air of authority, a nurse perhaps.
Yep.
I would approach that person.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you're aware that I and my companions have been unconscious for the past 2 days, and well, I'd very much like to get caught up on the news of the city, and I was hoping there might be some old papers left over from the 7th and then perhaps the 8th that we could use and keep our minds engaged while we wait to be released.
Of course.
That would be wonderful. Well, I have the Times and the Post. I was wondering if there were any other papers here that anyone happened to bring from home and didn't need any longer.
I'll do a quick check for you. Bring those up.
Thank you so much, my dear.
You're up on which room are you on?
I'm not the 3rd floor.
You're walking about.
Yes.
And you're not quite so tender, even with the cane, if you don't mind the bit of humor. So I would assume room C. We'll have those up shortly.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Of course.
It looks as though... Is the meal going to be served soon?
It's my understanding, yes. Being up on the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor is going to get served first, usually.
Of course.
Is there anything you needed with it, or?
I would very much love some coffee or tea.
Of course, we'd have tea. Tea service is always with dinner. Coffee's not a problem. The night doctors always make sure to have at least a pot or two. So.
Oh, what is the night doctor's name? I've not met him.
I don't remember who's on this evening. I can definitely have that for you when I come up with the papers and stuff.
Of course. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate your assistance here.
Of course.
Well, I'll continue my walk. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, best you take care, and I'll have those up shortly.
Yes, of course. God bless and keep you, my dear.
And you.
All right, I will make my way back with the 2 papers that I have.
Cool.
And that takes a bit of time, so if somebody else wants to play for
Fox,
a bit.
Olive, Young, and Cole. Are you staying in the hallway, or...
I figure Raymond's interested in heading back to the communal room and laying down and maybe reading through his file.
Okay.
Horace is just finding the closest bench or chair or something and settling down with his
You're going to be in the
his
lobby
notes.
area thing.
Yeah.
The third floor sitting area near the phone. Cole.
I want to ask Olive about this boat.
Okay, well, we're gonna get to that. Olive, you're being accosted about the boat.
I'll be like, just tell me, let's walk and talk. And while we're walking and talking, I want to look first for if there's any doors I could potentially leave like cracked open and no one would notice.
Sorry, on the first floor?
Yeah.
So it is a hot summer day. All of the doors are wide open.
Oh. Okay. Never mind. What's up, Tommy? What's it to you, Tommy?
I just...
Yeah. Go for it.
Carry.
No, go for it.
Well, I just obviously like wasn't in the room when the boat got mentioned, but I was like, I want to hear about the boat. I want to get off this. I'm not waiting around to find out this detective's thoughts and opinions.
Listen,
Sounds like you know him. I don't particularly want to.
I know this guy, and he's had it out for me for as long as I've been, bartending in this city. And if he can find one little crack or one little string, he will find it and he will use it against me, Tommy. And I can't. I won't survive in jail. Look at me. So, there's gonna be a boat at 2 a.m. under the bridge. I'm not staying here any longer. You think something's off. I think something's off. I don't want to find out what that something is.
You do a little bit though, don't you? Let's be honest. Like, if we've got till 2 a.m., we want to know a little bit about what's going on.
What are you proposing, Tommy?
I was kind of hoping that the place would be emptier for starters. And I want to look through notes. I want to look through the things I'm not supposed to look through. I want to poke around, I want to get old school.
So, like,
And
if the
there was
doctor
some
had to
kind
leave
of
his
reason-
office
If
out
there
of
was some kind of
distress,
reason why everyone had to leave.
you want to burn the hospital down.
Sorry?
You want to burn the hospital down? Is that what
No,
I just
no,
heard?
no,
Okay.
no, I
Oh,
wanna-
sorry. I heard that wrong.
think that the hospital is burning down.
Okay. Yeah. Where exactly do you want to look? Is it just the doctor's room, or is it just like all the rooms?
Well, aren't you curious what else is here?
Okay. So we need loud, or not loud. We need a distraction that will bring everybody. I mean, we could just start with walking around and opening doors and see what happens.
Yeah, there's just quite a lot. I don't want to have to knock out a nurse.
Okay, me saying to burn down the hospital is far, but you wanting to knock out nurses is also a
I
little
don't
far.
want
We
to
need to work on our
that's the
tact a
point.
little
I don't
bit here.
want someone to walk in on us, so I want to
Okay.
snoop in private.
So, we just steal like a nurse's uniform or doctor's uniform, and then no one will question us.
I think we're getting well aid. Let's poke. Let's just nose. Let's snoop.
Okay,
Have a gaggle.
all right, sounds fun.
Dr. Freeman Fox,
Yes.
you return to room 3C, and John Doe isn't there. You also You have been between him and the staircase this entire time.
John's the one that's
That's-
not wrapped in bandages, just so we're all on the same page.
He still has his arm real messed up when he's bleeding.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what we're gonna call it for this week. I was like, they're talking. I'm like, John Doe's not in the room anymore.
I'm glad.
So, thank you, Wandering Souls, for joining us this evening. If you liked what you saw, it would be awesome if you subscribed. Our shoutouts this week are super huge thanks to Syrinscape for providing the sound effects and music, which did die out for part of the time there because my computer freaked out on it. Joel has his own little, I was looking for a thing, his little tin plaque to put up, where he does fantastic Ravenloft campaigns, the professional dungeon master. He's got all the sound effects and spooky stuff going on and a ton of good reviews. You can find him at StartPlaying.Games/GM/Leonidas-Games, or the link will be in the bubble-de-boop below wherever you're watching this, whether it's here tonight or on YouTube later or wherever this ends up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll be back next week.
Next
May I?
Tuesday.
Of course.
You can also come back here tomorrow evening at around the same time, where you will see a couple of us in our weekly D&D 5th edition campaign. You get to see me as the DM and Kendra as a Chaos Gremlin. So unlike how she is here on
Very,
the
very
I'm
different.
not
So
chaotic.
Would it remind me where Lyra is at the moment?
Hey,
That's what I thought.
Kendra has a type.
I can't help it. I just want to know things, okay?
Yeah.
Look, if you want to see for yourself, check us out 7:30 Eastern Time for Doors and Deities. That is my.
Awesome.
I will get off the soapbox now.
No, it's good.
It's a great
I added
soapbox.
it to the notes because I never got the thing for that to be in the ending. But thank you all again, and have a great night.